Namaste to all. Kapil Muni says in Sankhya Shastra, the main aim of our human life is to get rid of three types of sorrows: internal, external, and natural. Means Adhyatmik Dukh, Adi Bhautik Dukh, and Adi Daivik Dukh. Internal sorrows are Adhyatmik Dukh, means we are getting internally disturbed due to ignorance, illusion, avidya, or we are having diseases and getting internally disturbed and getting pains and sorrows. External sorrows are those that are happening because of accidents, because of snake bite, because of animal bite, or because of fights between two group of people or two people. One person is injuring the other person without any reason, and because of ignorance two people are fighting. That is causing external sorrows. The third one is natural, Adi Daivik. Daivik means happening due to devatas, that is earthquake, due to earth. Then or there is extreme drought situation or fire breaking out in the forest or extreme cyclone or extreme volcanic activity. All these kind of natural calamities which is also affecting us and giving us sorrows. This is the third type of sorrows, Adi Daivik. So Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Daivik has to be clearly understood that there are three types of sorrows in this world. The only way to get rid of these three types of sorrows is by worshipping Almighty God, by understanding the principle of karma, principle of dharma, principle of Almighty God, definition of Almighty God, by doing tapasya. By understanding these kind of things, we can get rid of these three types of sorrows. That once a person gets rid of these three types of sorrows, he attains moksha, because absence of pain is moksha. So there are three types of pain or sorrows. Absence of pain and sorrows is moksha. So my Acharya always says that even when we read Upanishads or when we read Shastras, when we read Brahman Granths, when we read Mahabharata, Ramayana, we can understand in those days, because of the blessings of Almighty God, because of the reason that everybody walks the path of Vedas, even natural calamities not used to happen in those days. There was not any instance of extreme cyclonic activity or massive death of people due to earthquake or epidemic or these kind of things. This was not mentioned in any of these Shastras or Upanishads. The reason is because of worship of Almighty God. So Adyant Nivriti, getting rid of sorrows is to be our main aim. To get rid of sorrows, we have to worship, we have to pray to Almighty God, do upasana, follow the Vedic path. Otherwise we can never get rid of sorrows or pains. And also Kapil Muni mentions in one of the Sutra very, very clearly that you are eating food today, you are having a pleasure today, any sensual pleasure, or even eating food today. That does not mean that your hunger is gone. After 6 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours, you are again hungry, you want food. If there is a sensual pleasure, it does not mean that it is taking away your sorrows. The sorrow will come again. So we have to identify and differentiate between the Adhyatmik Sukh and the bodily Sukh or the Bhautik Sukh. And we have to focus our energies towards the spiritual progress to destroy the sorrows or pains from our life. So Sankhya Shastra also gives so many other guidelines. What is Veda, how this universe gets created, who is Almighty God. Sankhya Shastra gives a very, very clear indication that God cannot speak because God does not have mouth. So Vedas are not spoken by God, Vedas are emanated inside the heart of Rishi, and only when you listen Vedas from a Rishi, it is called as Vedas. If you listen Vedas from anybody else, it is not called as Vedas. This is also defined by Kapil Muni in Sankhya Shastra. So beautiful knowledge he has given in the Shastra, but the main thing is worship of Almighty God or upasana of Almighty God is most important. So we have to understand who is that Almighty God to come out of the sorrow. To understand Almighty God, we have to understand what is Vedas, because God is defining himself only in Vedas. To understand Vedas, we have to go to an Acharya. Unless we go to Acharya, we cannot understand Vedas. Unless we understand Vedas, we cannot understand Almighty God. Unless we don't understand Almighty God, we can never do upasana. We can never do stuti, we can never do prarthana, we can never do any of the deeds which will destruct or destroy our sorrows. So this is a beautiful big cycle. and this cycle has to start from the place of Acharya. So the first aim of all of us in our life is to search an Acharya who is a yogi. And also the second important point, I was speaking to one gentleman in YouTube. He was suggesting me to read one book. I said I cannot read that book because it is anti-Vedic. So there was some little bit of argument. Then finally I just want to tell you the message that there are two gods. Please understand. The true God is the one who creates this universe, who sustains this universe, who is giving us food to eat, who is giving the result of our deeds, who is taking care of birth and death, who is taking care of all the activities of this universe properly that is happening. That is the true Almighty God which is mentioned in the Vedas. The next God is the one who is created by human beings. The next God is the one who is installed as statues in the temples. The next God is the one who says that I send messengers from time to time. The next God is the one who says that I reveal books from time to time. That is not the God whom we have to worship. We have to worship the true Almighty God only following the Vedic path. Otherwise, destruction of sorrows is impossible. Every day we are seeing, day by day we are seeing so many tensions, bad news. If you open YouTube news channel, every news speaks bad only. Every news, of course they are speaking truth, but all the news are bad news. Some speaking that there is accident there, some speaking that this guy has done so much of corruption, some speaking that this ex-minister is killed by someone, some saying that recession is coming, some saying joblessness, some saying that this year sun solar activity will happen, everybody will get into problem, there will not be any water in the earth. All these kind of news we are seeing every day by day by day. This is an indication that we are going slowly, every day we are going away from God. That is why we are getting into sorrows. This no one is able to think. The guarantee given by God in the Vedas is even natural calamity will not happen if we follow Vedic path. That is, the proof is written in the Shastras and Upanishads. I was seeing a video today morning. I think I forgot the channel name. Beautiful. It's a business video. Beautiful statement was mentioned. If you want to learn what will happen in future, please go to the past history and understand what happened in the past and make sure that you don't repeat the same mistake. If we go to the past, we understand that there was no dukh, there was no tension, there was no problem, there was no natural calamity, there was no epidemic, there was no pollution, there was no, patients dying without money or something like that, there was no poverty. Then if we analyze, we will see that it is due to the Vedic path, it is due to the blessings of God that people were following Vedas. There was no dukh. If we see today, it's opposite. So we have to learn an important lesson that for the future, for our next generation kids, how can they be away from sorrows? They cannot be away from sorrows. In fact, we are in sorrows. So our next generation will be in further sorrows. After that, it will be more problematic because lack of knowledge of Vedas. Because nobody cares to contact an Acharya. Because nobody cares or bothers about Almighty God. Everybody cares for that Almighty God who is created by humans, not of that Almighty God who is creating us. So we have to take an important lesson in our life to be away from sorrows and pains and start worshipping Almighty God. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.